Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, which representation does not show y as a function of x? So let's see. I want to find out which one of the representations, A, B, C, or D, does not show y as a function of x. So basically, I'm trying to find out which one of those is not a function. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about what is exactly a function, right? So we're going to read the definition that I have here, and hopefully this can help us. So my definition says a function is a special kind of relation in which each input x value has one and only one output y value. So if you're wondering about what does that really mean, how about if we put it more simple here? We're going to say then that x values cannot repeat. How about that? Okay, so that means that when I look at my answer choices, I'm going to focus on the x values only. Okay, only the x values. So let's look at letter A, for example. And I want you to look at the x values here. What do you notice about the x values? Are my x values repeating? Do you see any x value repeating? No, right? I see -1, 0, 2, 4, and 6. So that means no x value repeats. So let's write it down. No x value repeats. Therefore, this is a function. But I'm looking for something that is not a function. Okay? So let's look at letter B. What about letter B? Let's look at the x values, right? That's what I'm focusing on. So my x values are going to be -2, -1, 0, 1, and +2. So can you look at those values and answer the question? Do you see any of the x values repeating? No, right? I got -2, -1. No, none of the x values repeat. So we say no x value repeats. Therefore, this is a function. So far, A and B are functions. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that is not a function. Let's look at now letter C. Letter C is a mapping, right? So we're still going to look at my x values. Now, notice how in the letter C, one of the things that you might want to do is actually rewrite them, because mapping can be quite tricky, okay? Not in this letter C, but sometimes they might. So my advice would be write down my ordered pairs like that. And the next one would be -1 goes with -1. Then 0 goes with a 4. Then 2 goes with a 7. And finally, 5 goes with -2. Some of the biggest mistakes that I've seen on the students is when they give them a mapping and they don't write down the order pairs again. It's very likely, okay, that they can get confused to decide whether x or y are repeating. So my advice is don't go through that problem. Just rewrite them. And now I'm going to look at my x values. And I do not see any x value that repeats. They're all different values. So we're going to say no x value repeats, right? So if no x value repeats, then what does that mean? It means this is a function. Okay, so it doesn't seem like letter C can be my answer either. So hopefully it is D, right? So D is different than the other ones, right? D is the one that I am going to need to do the vertical line test. And I'm going to write it down over here. Vertical line test means that I am going to draw a vertical line, which is very much parallel to the y, right? To the y-axis. And when I draw the vertical line, I am going to check if it's touching 1 or 2 points. Okay? So I know what you're going to say. Miss, I can draw a line right here, and it's touching only 1 point. Yes, but since this one is a discrete relation, right? Not the points are not connected. I'm going to have to draw a line in more than once. So I'm going to go to the next one. And yeah, only one time. It's touching it only one time. But keep on going. What about if I do it here? What do you notice here? Is it touching it once or is it touching 2 points? This one actually has it twice. Is that right? So even though there's some vertical lines that you can draw and it's going to touch only 1 point, that's not true for another 2 given points. Okay? So this is not a function. Why is this not a function? Because x repeats. Because when I do the vertical line test, it fails the vertical line test. Okay? And I can draw a line in the other 2 points and it will touch it only once. But the fact that right here it's touching it twice, then that means that this is not a function. And that's what I was looking for, right?